Hey folks, welcome back to another review with yours truly, Sam Healey, right here on the Dice Tower. I'm going to take a look at this one right here, River Valley Glassworks. Now, I know that Tom and the boys have already done a review of this, and they all gave it pretty high marks, 7.5s and 8s. I'm gonna take a look at it because first time I played this was on the cruise earlier this year in January, and I enjoyed it. It was okay. Played it again. Wife played it. She really enjoyed it. We actually picked it up at Dice Tower West, so I wanted to give a fair shake to River Valley Glassworks. Let's get down to the table and take a look. So here I have a 4-player game of River Valley Glassworks set up for you, and basically everything's laid out the way it's supposed to be laid out. You take the acrylic tiles here that represent the river, and you put a number of beads on them equal to how many rocks are in the actual river here on each tile. So this one only gets 1, this one gets 2, delineated by that little icon right there. Then everybody is going to take their own pan, and everybody draws 3 beads to start in their pan, and then you're going to randomly take 5 beads out to go down here in the river, and that will be for refilling your pan during the draw phase if you choose to take that action. Now the game is going to randomly determine a starting player. That person is going to go first, and then the game's going to go in a number of turns so that everybody has the same number of turns, but on your turn you have basically 2 things that you can choose to do. You have to do one or the other, you can't do both, and that is first of all place and gather. Now when you place and gather, you're going to take one of the beads from your pan here and you're going to put it out into the river, and then you're going to be able to take all of the beads on one of the river tiles adjacent to where you place that. So for example, if I take this hexagonal shaped piece, I have to match it to the place where the shape matches. So I could put it here and I could take both of these if I wanted to. Or I could take this, this triangle right here and place it down here and take these 2 and put them into my glassworks. So you could do that. So if I had a heart, I could place the heart and I could take from either here or here. But you also have the option of using 2 shapes that are identical and place them anywhere you want to in the river, and then take from an adjacent river tile. So let's just say, for example, I wanted to place my pink hexagon right there, and then I'm going to take these 2 right here. Then I'm going to take these 2 beads and I'm going to place them into my glassworks. When you place beads into your glassworks, you're going to, first of all, columns are going to be of the same color bead, and then rows you have to put different colored beads. So if I have these 2 beads, I'm going to be able to place them down here, and that's going to denote what's going to go into those columns from then on. And I'm keeping this row the same because I have to have a different color on each of these columns. Now, once I've placed beads into my glassworks over here, then I'm going to move my character along this journey for as many beads as I have. So I placed 2, I move that over to the 2. The last thing I have to do before it's the next person's turn is I'm going to take this piece of river and slide all of these down just like that, and this goes down to the end, and then a number of beads equal to the icon there come out from the bag so that it now has what it's supposed to have on it, and now it's the next person's turn. After a few more turns, you'll notice that the players' pans are dwindling as far as how many they can put out there. Some of them have none left, some of them have only 1. Well, that brings us to the second thing that you can choose on your turn, and that is to draw more beads from the river into your pan. So what that's going to look like is you're going to be able to draw 4 out of the 5 that are here. And of course, remembering that the shapes that are out here matter more than the actual colors do, but you're putting those colors into the river as well. So the colors that you want out here will also matter. So what I would probably do in this situation, as Rosie over here doesn't really have a whole lot of good stuff, she could put her circle green bead here, but then she would only have this and this, And that's not quite what she's wanting to do here, and she's kind of looking ahead. So what she might want to do is take these two and these two, because, well, they both match in shape, and that gives her a lot of diversity as far as where she can place in the river, and it gives it to her twice. So she's going to take and place over here. Now, taking the draw action is a timing decision, because you don't want to go over your max. If you go over your max when you take 4, because you do have to draw 4 from the river, if you go over your max of 5 for your pan here, you'll have to discard one of them into their overflow here, and that's going to be -3, and that's something that you want to try to avoid. But at the end of Rosie's turn, this does get refilled with 4 different ones, like so. And now Beaver Boutique will be able to draw from hers, and let's see, she's going to take these two and these two for the same reason that Rosie took over here, and now those 4 get re-added as well. Oops, that one stays, and so now we have those 2 turns going, and now we come over to Cornelius's turn, and he has a diamond here, which he could go here to take these, which is pretty good. It has a pretty good thing here, and then it'll be 3 more to finish that row. So maybe he would go ahead and do that on his turn to take these. This one's going to go right here. This one would go right there. Actually, you know what? I think this one would actually go here, and we would do something like this, actually. And now Cornelius would count up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we make sure that he goes up to here just like that on his turn. But now his next turn is going to be drawing from the river as well. And this is basically how the game is going to continue, with players taking turns either placing and gathering or drawing. The game will end when one person gets to their 17th spot or more, which means that they have placed 17 or more beads. Then that round will finish, and then everybody else gets one more turn. After the end of that last turn, everybody counts up how many points they've accrued, and the person with the most points is the winner. And so for an example of scoring, you have the Beaver Boutique down here was able to get 16 beads in their glassworks by the end of the game. And so what we do here first is we score rows. So you score the length of each row up to the first gap. So you have this row gets you 22 points. This row is going to get only 4 points, and then this row will only get you 1 point, and because the gap is right here. And then these rows don't score anything because there's nothing to begin, so it begins with the gap. And then for columns, you're going to score the highest 2 columns. But if there is a tie, you'll score the leftmost. So that is 3 more points. And then the other highest one is over here with 28 more points. So Rose got the Beaver Boutique 31 points altogether. So you add those 2 together and you've got 58 points for the game for Beaver Boutique. But that just gives you an idea of how scoring works. So that's about that for River Valley Glassworks. It really is a simple, fast flowing game. The decisions you have to make on your turn are not that in-depth, or not so in-depth that it's going to trigger a whole lot of thought processes that have to take place. So turns go pretty quickly and rounds go pretty quickly. What I found with the game is that the game was over usually before I wanted it to be over, which I guess could be a detractor, but generally speaking, the game plays so quickly and you can set it up so fast that you just play another game, and it doesn't really feel like you've discontinued one game and started another one. It just kind of begins again. And then another thing for final thoughts is that if you do go up to 5 players, you do have these black or onyx or obsidian glass pieces that you'll add into the bag to have enough beads for a full 5-player game, but just keep that in mind. I showed you a 4-player game, but it does go all the way up to 5, and it does also have a solo variant in it as well. So this does have a pretty high, diverse number of players that it can handle, which is a good thing. The bling factor is pretty high on this as well. It has a pretty good table appeal. But with all that being said, let's get to my pros and cons. Now, my first pro is going to be something that I already mentioned, and that is the bling factor of the game. If you get all of the extra pieces that you can have for the game, and that is the acrylic glass beads, as well as the acrylic river tiles that go in there, these are all really nice things that up the bling factor of the game. I really enjoy the fact that all of the player boards are double layered, and that the little meeples that everybody has fits into their little thing. Now, it is possible for you to knock those over, but just a little bit of care helps you remember. You don't have to remember where your dude is. One of the things that you do have to do every once in a while in the game is to recount your beads, because sometimes you can forget to move your dude on your board. But I like the component quality, the bling factor that I'm calling it here, of this game, because I've always said that games that look better are more fun to play, and this is definitely one of those things. This is definitely one of those games where that's absolutely true, in my opinion. I love the neoprene playmat that's there. My specific copy is curling a little bit on the end, but I'm just going to have to fix that, which you can. So I'm not worried about that very much. But the artwork on the neoprene mat, the fact that the river tiles are clear, the acrylic ones that I have, so that you can see that artwork through them, it's all really good. I love the glass beads. The artwork is great. The bling factor is great. So this is kind of two pros, because usually I set artwork aside as one of the pros. So I'll go ahead and do that, and we'll talk about the fact that the anthropomorphic animals are usually a give or take for most people, but I like it. It makes it light. It makes it a light-hearted theme, which I think is exactly fits the kind of game that it is. So the artwork, the component factor, the bling is all well and good. Those are both pros in my opinion. We've already talked about how fast it plays, and that is going to be another pro for me as well, because I do like the fact that when I'm running a game event, I know that this is a game that I can sit down and teach within about 5 minutes, and then it'll be over in about 30 minutes. So it's one of those games that doesn't require a large attention span, which a lot of people that come to our events don't necessarily have, because they don't really know what to expect yet. And so we don't want to overwhelm them. And this is a game that does not overwhelm at all. And on top of that, it's cute, it's pretty, and people are interested in it just because of my first pro. But the gameplay is simple. There's only a couple of decisions that you have to make on your turn, and that's really, these are the pieces that I have, this is where I can go, which are the pieces that I really want. It's really that simple as far as the decisions that you have to make on the turn, and that is a great thing for this kind of game. I really enjoy the gameplay here. Now, I mentioned in my last pro that the fact that you have very simple decisions that you can make, but one of the things that I like about that is the other layer that you can kind of peel back that simplicity, and you find a deeper system that's going on underneath that simple surface. And I like that, because you can play the game in a couple of different ways that don't necessarily conflict with each other. You can play it very simply. I want to get this, I want to get that. Or you can say, okay, I'm going to choose these from the river, and these are the ones that I'm going to put into the river, because at some point I want to get them back out of the river. And those are all things that work really well in this game. The thought processes that go on with that make for a very satisfying puzzle as you're playing the game, and how deep you go into that puzzle is really dependent upon the player itself. And it is light enough to where if you are not that strategically robust person, you can still have a chance at winning, because you're pulling out of a bag the tiles, or rather the beads that get added to the river, you could just magically fall into the right spot and get exactly what you need to gain those extra high column points, and you've won the game at that point. So it has that feel to it, and I really like that for a gateway level, a family level, a new person into the hobby level kind of game. Now, a couple of the cons that I'll mention, they're really kind of one con, but I'll split them up into two, not just so that I can fabricate more cons, but it's just they are kind of two different things. The first one is, like I said earlier, this game will usually be over with before you want it to be over with. You'll want it to continue going. So that's kind of a con, but it's kind of a pro, because if you want to keep playing it, that means it's a good thing, right? It's a good game. But the con is, wow, this ended before I wanted it to end. I wanted it to continue going so I could get that one little choice that I was just missing. So that's kind of a con. The other con is going to be that for some seasoned gamers, this is just going to seem too simple. It's just going to seem like it's too random. I don't know what's coming out. Yeah, that person won because the exact beads that they were wanting to just randomly fell into their lap at the end of the game, and blah, 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 blah. So I guess that's a con as well. But again, these are both lighthearted cons in my opinion, because from the other side of those arguments, you have a person that probably really enjoyed their experience because of those exact things. So take that for what it's worth. My rating is going to be pretty high here. Now, I know the other guys that did it on the channel gave it a 7.5 and a couple of 8s, I believe. And that's really where I'm going to land. This is a definite 8 for me. This is a game that my wife really enjoys, and she can absolutely teach it well. And that is a positive, a very positive thing for her. A lot of games, there's just too much going on for her to feel confident to teach it well. And she doesn't like to teach things when she isn't doing a good job of it. So, but this is a game that she knows that she can teach absolutely well because it's so streamlined. But it's still so fun. And I love it when games are like that. And my wife does too. We just played this again 2 times in a row at our recent game night. And we had a blast teaching it to a couple of new they weren't new gamers, but this game was new to them, and they enjoyed it so much that they said, hey, can we play it again right now? And we absolutely said yes. So we just had a great time playing it, and so I wanted to bring this back to the review table, and I know it's already been done. I know the guys have given it high marks, but I wanted to throw my hat into that ring as well and say, yes, absolutely, fellas, this is a great game, and I'm going to absolutely reinforce that 8 out of 10 that I think Chris and Mike gave it. So there you have it. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you guys and gals on the flip side. Take care.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you like this review or whatever you just watched, wasn't it amazing? Check out our channel, Dice Tower. We have all kinds of things. We review games, we do top 10s, we play games live. It's all about board games, but especially the people who play them. Check out Dice Tower YouTube channel.